Leading economic indicators have a new rival, and they're losing to it big time. COVID-19 infection data have for the moment become the most reliable leading indicator of economic activity anywhere. If infections go up, lockdowns ensue and the economy tumbles. Stabilize or reduce new infections and lockdowns are lifted, partially or completely. And presto, the economy leaps forward again. Trouble is, there are few reliable models of pandemic prediction and a wide variety of policy responses. Where is this leading indicator headed? Well, before going there, stop for a moment and think about this indicator. Typically, we have to wait a while, 30 days, 60 days, sometimes more, from the reference period, until we get data that tell us what actually happened back then. Well, during a pandemic, that feels like an eternity. Well, COVID-19 data is a modern miracle. We get refreshed global data at least every 20 minutes in key countries, broken down into subregions. That's about as real time as the planet has ever seen. The main effect on the economy is the speed of policy decisions. Infection rates have been the key trigger for lockdown orders, from the initial outbreak in China, clear through countries that are still dealing with first wave outbreaks. These have shown up in shocking plunges in economic data, far beyond imagination. Activity levels down 80% or more in the auto industry, 75% for air carriers, retail shutdowns, and the impacts all up the supply chain. Well, they were telegraphed perfectly by the COVID-19 data, although that didn't in any way reduce the shock. Well, thankfully, the data are not a one-way wonder. The pandemic information seems to be as good on the upside as on the way down, at least so far. Flattening of the curve and the measured resumption of activity had an instant impact on China's April data. And while we're still plumbing the economic depths during May, there was enough of a return to work that small but significant rebounds were achieved. If the virus data are really that good, June is looking like an all-out barn burner. If nothing got in the way, this would be a solid start to a classic V-shaped recovery, with a return to pre-COVID-19 activity levels by year-end. Likely the most troubling threat to this happy outcome goes back, naturally, to today's pandemic data. Second wave infections have occurred in China, Japan, and Singapore, with the worst cases now hitting the United States in certain states. The key danger here is a global re-slowing of growth. The impact on the economy is highly contingent on the policy reaction. Various types of lockdown have been tried. There was the very concentrated one in Wuhan, China, which ring-fenced the outbreak region in the city and allowed the rest of the economy to continue on. The Tokyo closure shut down a huge chunk of Japanese GDP. Others are variations on the theme, of which the full state closures in the US are probably the most severe. Put it all together, and a third quarter slowing of growth is likely. That's pretty discouraging. It feels like the economy is in for another drubbing. Well, not so, thus far. Stung by near-complete shutdowns, economies don't want to go there again, and are generally trying to go with localized containment. Yet clearly the return to a second round of more generalized US statewide lockdowns is one of the world's greatest threats to growth. So getting beyond this requires a flattening and eventually sustained reduction of infections. Policies that get us there are the surest solution at present. Although not necessary to secure a full recovery, development of a vaccine would nail it from two standpoints: getting the infection numbers down and giving consumers and businesses the confidence to fully restore congregating and interacting. Well, at that point, the economy would be in an irrepressible rush to get back to normal. The bottom line, the economy's newest and best barometer is bouncing in a way that's racking the nerves. EDC Economics forecast anticipates a sharp rebound that morphs into a less rapid path to normal as second wave infections hold back demand and production. To date, the public response to renewed outbreaks has been contained enough to keep recovery going. Failure to contain brings serious economic consequences for which there will be fewer workable remedies, a key reason behind the swift actions that have followed second wave outbreaks. These high stakes should ensure fast implementation of appropriate measures that speed us to better times. The alternative, unfortunately, is grim. Until next week, I'm Peter Hall.